I'm so delighted this afternoon to have as our commencement speaker a good friend and colleague, Senator the Honorable Fazal Karim. And I grew up in the central Trinidad, the Cane Belt, coming from poor families. We met together as high school students at Presentation College, San Fernando, both having aspirations to make a difference in the world. I'm so delighted to note the progress of my friend and colleague over the years. He has demonstrated leadership and vision, choosing the path of politics and religion to carve a better future for our country and our region and our world. I met him again after my sojourn abroad for 27 years. We met again last year, and we immediately reconnected and shared some pleasant memories of old times when we traveled on that bus together, rushed down High Street, San Fernando, to make sure we got an early bus back to our homes in central Trinidad. Senator Karim, thanks so much for your friendship. Thanks so much for your love for the University of the Southern Caribbean. Thanks for your support. I was especially touched when the same evening of the fire, Senator Karim called me there in Baltimore, Maryland, expressing his concern and indicating that all the resources of his ministry are available to support the university in our hour of need. He was personally instrumental in securing these facilities for our use free of cost. We welcome you to the podium, sir. His complete profile is in the booklet, and in the interest of time, we ask that you read it. I want to welcome and acknowledge the presence of Pastor Judy Karim, his dear wife. Please stand, please. Welcome, Senator Karim. Please deliver our commencement address.
Thank you very much, my very good friend. And the A in after Clinton is Anthony. And I just told him, and rather asked him to confirm, wasn't there an R after the A? And he said yes, because I recall we would favorably call him Clinton Anthony Richard Valley, President of the University of the Southern Caribbean, and Mrs. Valley. And let me thank you, my dear brother, for those very kind words of welcome. In the interest of time, I'll just tell you the number of the bus that we would have used to go to San Fernando. If it was a bus that stopped at St. Mary's and then picked him up at McBean and made all the other stops in Couva, we had to look for the bus number 48. If it was a bus that we both had to meet in Couva to take to go to San Fernando, it was the bus number 49, limited stops. And in case we ran too quickly into the bus and didn't look at the number and took the number 50, it was non-stop to Port of Spain. Dr. Kern Tobias, Chairman, Board of Governors, and Mrs. Tobias. In his absence, Dr. Trevor Gardner, former president of USC, and his dear wife, Dr. Gardner. My very good friend, Mr. Kwesi Mutema, representing the Chairman of the Board of Governors of the University of Trinidad and Tobago. Do you know, when the honoris causa was being presented, at that very point in time, to our very distinguished honoree, the rain started to fall. I think he needs a special round of applause for the blessing. And his dear wife, Dr. Esther Simmons, Pastor Johnson Frederick, President of St. Lucia Mission of the SDA, deans, faculty, members of staff of the USC, graduates, parents, alumni, well-wishers, invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Graduates of the 79th graduation exercise of this institution, I congratulate you this evening on behalf of our Honorable Prime Minister, Mrs. Kamala Persad Bissessar, and the government and the people of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I congratulate you on the successful completion of your studies as you set forth on a journey having been prepared by the University of the Southern Caribbean with the courage, the vision, the ideas, the enterprise, the right values and principles. Trinidad and Tobago's future depends upon each citizen having the necessary knowledge, understanding, skills, values, and attitudes for a productive and rewarding life in society. Education is central to achieving this vision. It is therefore important that our institutions, like yours, build a foundation through intellectual, physical, social, moral, and spiritual development. It is in this regard that I wish to commend Dr. Valley and all members of staff at the University of the Southern Caribbean on the work that they have been doing and continue to do, and of which we in the government of Trinidad and Tobago are very proud, and I ask you to congratulate them. Ladies and gentlemen, graduates, Dr. Valley's appointment as president of the USC became effective on January 1, 2012. A proud graduate, as he just told me as well, of this institution, and someone with whom I shared many fond memories at our alma mater, Presentation College, San Fernando. He has brought to this institution his experiences as a church pastor, high school principal, dean, university professor, and senior academic. I am also very proud to announce to you today that Dr. Clinton Anthony Richard Valley will be requested by me as Minister of Science, Technology, and Tertiary Education to join the very distinguished National Commission for Higher Education of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. This commission will coordinate all events and activities within the tertiary education landscape, and I look forward to his active participation therein. In fact, Dr. Valley's commitment to the tertiary education sector and his vision is quite commendable, as this university under his watch, and you'll have just heard it, announced the opening of the South Campus for the coming September 2012 semester. The proposed location off Superior Street in San Fernando will provide educational options for persons who have to contend with the daily hassle of traveling from South to the North Campus, and that will soon be, for many people, a thing of the past. Dr. Valley, we welcome the University of the Southern Caribbean to our education city and campus in the South, as we will soon be launching the construction of the University of the West Indies Penal DB campus, and I take cognizance of your request for lands for the expansion of your campus southwards. In this regard, I give you my fullest support to service your students and your students in the southern part of Trinidad and Tobago. Situated on 384-acre estate in the lush tropical Maracas Valley, the University of the Southern Caribbean has emerged as one of the premier tertiary education institutions in the Caribbean. From its early beginning in 1927, known then as the East Caribbean Training School, it later became known as the Caribbean Union College in 1956. A significant change in status was achieved in 2006 with the official conferral of university status, making USC the third university in the country and one of the first tertiary institutions to be registered with the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago. The USC, a Seventh-day Adventist Christian institution, is recognized as a tertiary-level institution by the government of Trinidad and Tobago through its accreditation body, the ACTT, the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago. And the youth today are many proud graduates of the 6 schools and some 40-plus disciplines at this institution, at the master's, associate, and bachelor's level. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, I also wish to advise that using the technology of which you spoke just now, that we should have technology within the USC on real-time systems. I just emailed the chairman of the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Michael Dowlatt, at his home now today celebrating Mother's Day with his wife. And he replied to me that within 2 months, by July 2012, the University of the Southern Caribbean should have conferred upon it institutional accreditation status. Additionally, students who are citizens of Trinidad and Tobago benefit fully from the government assistance for tuition expenses, the GATE program, and this Government of the People's Partnership. In our manifesto commitment of our Action Day Plan 120, the Action Plan, item number 2, we committed, promised, and delivered that the GATE program will not only be expanded into tertiary, but for the first time in the history of this country, will be expanded to include technical and vocational education and training. Your proud history as an institution from its establishment in 1927 and continuing today as it did back then in the tradition of offering a unique package of values-based education that not only places focus on the academic disciplines, but also on the holistic emphasis. Yes, Mr. President, we are on the way to revising our life skills curriculum and program. And like many other many other institutions in different parts of the world, we are focusing on character and values education. Form, as you know from our days that we were taught at presentation, form is temporary, class is permanent. The fact that your graduates of class can be found in prominent positions in the fields of academia, medicine, politics, and religion is enough to indicate that your university is indeed on the right direction. USC has recognized and accepted its mandate as a critical partner with the governments of the Southern Caribbean region and in their capacity building initiatives. In the area of sports education, the USC, with the full support of the Ministry of Sports and the Ministry of Education, hosted the visit of football legendary Cafu, along with a team of Brazilian footballers to Trinidad to conduct a series of training workshops and friendly games with local teams. And for that, we are indeed very grateful to you. The USC's women volleyball team has established itself as an emerging winner among its peers in local competition. Music education, the evidence of which you just heard, continues to be a hallmark of the university, and the legacy of music which resulted in a choir from the institution, emerging as the winner of the music festival title in its category, is noteworthy, with USC music soloists and choirs copying significant titles in the 2010 Music Festival. Your history continues to be very colored and checkered. In the area of teacher education, USC continues to partner with the local and regional governments as a critical partner in fulfillment of its mandate as a provider of quality teacher education and the plans of our Ministry of Education for its early childhood education agenda, and I wish to congratulate you on your development, and which will be soon open, over 25 ECC centers in September throughout Trinidad and Tobago. This focus on intellectual curiosity is encouraged with emphasis on innovation, teaching and learning strategies and environments, and relative programs that seek to address the current national needs. The work reflects expansions in the social sciences components in an effort to address the burgeoning negative societal issues facing local and regional communities. The expansion of science and technology to include an undergraduate degree in nursing was also influenced by the need to provide support to the government to boost its healthcare sectors, and USC has continued to receive accolades for the high quality of service delivery of its nurses students. As we speak, and during the course of last week, Honorable Prime Minister, myself, and other ministers had the distinguished pleasure to launch for the first time in the history of this country simulcast lectures from Mount Hope, the Faculty of Medical Sciences, to the San Fernando General Hospital, which will then include the hospital in Sangre Grande, and Port of Spain, and Scarborough, and we hope to invite the University of the Southern Caribbean to partner in that regard in terms of blended learning to increase your throughput of nurses in Trinidad and Tobago. The focus on innovation and invention and transformation are critical to curriculum delivery at the USC, and this resulted in the selection of 3 USC students as the only group to represent the Caribbean region in the recently held Microsoft Imagine Cup competition in New York to represent and to present their software alternative to address the deficits in the delivery of education at the primary and secondary levels. I would like to see the day when USC, together with UTT, UWI, and other tertiary institutions, can dedicate classes entirely to development of mobile applications for the improvement of the quality of lives of all our people and the rest of the world. If Steve Jobs could do it, we can do it right here at the USC and in Trinidad and Tobago. Your emphasis, Mr. President, on fostering appreciation for cultural diversity is also a key attribute, with representations from students and faculty from over 40 countries represented at the institution, and careful, deliberate opportunities to interweave diversity education within the educational experiences of the USC community and students, and thereby prepare them for their world in the global arena. Additionally, as you confirmed, and we are very proud to say so, in this regard, the government of Trinidad and Tobago has provided funding for the construction of 2 residence halls for your main campus at Maracas St. Joseph. This construction is now in process, and the entire project, when completed, will provide some 65,000 square feet of new floor space to accommodate 200 male and 200 female students in independent blocks, each with its own administrative facilities and provisions, yes, for differently abled students. In fact, my personal commitment to this institution led to my almost immediate response and full support when I heard about the recent unfortunate incident of the fire that destroyed your auditorium. As the President indicated, we continue to be here as a government, and we stand ready to assist in the reconstruction of your facilities to make it better than it was in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, USC's vision for continued partnership and its commitment to forging the national and regional agenda to build human capacity is very significant. And so the University of the Southern Caribbean forges on striving to move beyond excellence. Graduates, when we look at the world today, what do we see? We see the Arab Springs of Northern Africa. Only last night, we saw the indignants again protesting in Spain. We are very mindful about the developments that are taking place in the BRICS countries. But thank God, Trinidad and Tobago is still and continues to be blessed by Almighty God. We have a very rich culture, very unified population, and we are harmonious together in diversity as we celebrate our 50th anniversary of independence, and we look forward with the USC charting the course for another 50 years in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. The ways that we do business and the ways that we as a country must evolve to remain key players in the world of work is shifting as we speak. Professor Linda Grattan ranked on the list of HR's most influential people, and in fact, a professor at the London Business School. And among the list of thinkers who have the greatest influence in the field of people strategy, says in her book, The Shift, that's the name of the book, The Shift, the future of work is already here, highlights the importance of shifting into a mindset of cooperation, connectivity, and innovation. As our members of the diplomatic corps who are here with us, and we welcome you, and I ask you to give them an appreciative round of applause. They will bring to us the experiences of their various countries, and they will recognize what I'm going to tell you, that the world has entered the era of the knowledge economy, and the key strategic resource for national development, talent, is playing an increasingly vital role. For example, today, the use of computers to create wealth and value signals a major change in mankind's mode of working. Wealth and value were first created from the land, then in factories, later in banks, and now via the internet. This marks significant human progress. Thomas Friedman said that in the era of the knowledge economy, the world is flat. The most influential characteristic of this era is the transnational flow and internationalization of talent, of which those of you and some of you are seated here today, when you graduate, will contribute to that internationalization. According to statistics from the United Nations, the number of people who currently live and work outside of their native countries exceeds 200 million. And this number, it is predicted, increases by 3% annually. This global flow of talent offers fresh hope for undertaking key science and technology projects, as well as tackling existing global challenges. Technology and globalization are two salient forces that will continue to shape our businesses, our economies, and our interactions, both inside and outside of our work lives. And so, graduates, I urge you today to take advantage of the people around you, even here in this very room, your parents, your lecturers, your colleagues sitting next to you, as working together towards the same goals can bring immense opportunities. I said, somewhere I was asked recently to give a speech to someone who had a little baby, a Christian. And I will say to you what I said to them, and you'll recognize why I'm saying it. That those of us who are parents, who are sitting here proudly today, witnessing the next level of achievement of our children, will remember that the only time you will know what it is to be a child is when you have children. And therefore, I ask all graduates, you may sit and do so, to give an appreciative round of applause to your parents and your guardians for the sacrifices they would have made to bring us here today. I want to ask you, and I want to challenge you to go beyond. You need to remain in an environment of constant stimulation and learning, thereby reinventing and reigniting your own mind and passion. In the years to come, what will set you apart is your ability to create and craft your own brand. I also want to advise you and exhort you not to become part of what I term the discouraged graduate. The discouraged graduate, like the discouraged worker, is one who constantly seeks out employment, writes numerous letters to various companies, and sometimes doesn't have the courtesy of getting a reply. I recall my own time when I graduated in economics, and you were then called an economist. So you felt that that was a big deal, and I went for an interview at Caroni 1975 Limited. President Valley made reference to the fact that we both came from that kind of industry area. And after I was interviewed by, he was called the personnel manager. We now call him another name, human resources manager. He said, you know, you had a wonderful interview. And I thought I would have gotten the job because I sort of impressed upon him. I wanted to work here because my father worked here. You know, you say all the right things in the interview. And he said to me, I'm sorry, but you did very well, but you were not able to get this job. And I said, can you tell me why so I can improve? Because he asked me if I have any questions. And he said, well, the one thing that you don't have is you don't have experience. And he said in closing, will you like to ask me any other question? And I said, yes, sir. I said, could you advise me where I can go to get experience? I say that today because as Minister of Science, Technology, and Tertiary Education and the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, I commit to you that we are going to continue to develop and expand the on-the-job training program. And I invite you not to become a discouraged graduate, but to register immediately if you don't have for employment within that for a 2-year period on the on-the-job training program. That on-the-job training program will give you what I didn't have, the experience on your CV or resume. As I conclude, let me remind you that the creative mind does not stop working at the end of the workday, but rather transcends and blurs the boundaries between work and arenas of ideas that are not about work. The future of work will increasingly be about breaking down the barrier that separates work from life and work from everything that is considered non-work. To this, you must learn from those creative and innovative minds around you. Surround yourself with people who have different skill sets and competencies, who are masters in their areas that are dissimilar to yours, but whose interests overlap. The synergy and the partnerships that you build and nurture will be essential stepping stones on your path to leadership, innovation, creativity, and excellence. As I wish and I join with President Valley, and I wish all mothers a happy Mother's Day, I want to remind you that your role in society is even so more important today than before. Women are and continue to be the bedrock of our societies. They are the pillars of strength in every family and community. Yet gender inequalities, more so in the rural communities, remain deeply entrenched. This coming Thursday, I plan to launch a very important project in the country's 50th anniversary in the name of it as a legacy project. I am calling this for the first time because of the fact that President Valley spoke about ICT as well. He may have read part of my speech. We are going to launch for the first time in the history of this country what I call closing the digital gap. We must close the gap between those who know the technology and those who do not know the technology if we have to be an internationally competitive nation. That program will be branded as START-TT, START, Social Transformation, Accelerating Results Through Technology. The significance of the day declared by the United Nations as World Telecommunication and Information Society Day, promoting women and girls in ICT, is important as we seek to change the profile of our rural communities. The launch will take place on Farm Road in St. Joseph, with some 400 families and over 1,100 persons on a very small area, sometimes considered a depressed area, but where we are going to pull what I call our wheels with technology. The YTAP mobile computer bus will be rolling into that community. That's only the beginning. It will be rolling into many depressed communities and what we call poor communities as we enrich the lives of our people to take their places in our society. We are not into the brain drain. As minister, I'm going to be reversing that into the brain gain. Graduates, I challenge you to look forward to the world of work, to achieving higher educational pursuits, to work hard, work collaboratively, volunteer your time, share and support, learn and be distinguished in the part of your endeavors. On behalf of my wife, Pastor Judy Karim, I wish to thank you very much for this opportunity, President Valley, your members of the Board of Governors, your faculty and staff, and indeed all of us who are gathered here, your graduates, for inviting us to be part of this very significant occasion in your life, to share with you and to congratulate you as a graduate. You have run the good race, you have finished the course, and you have fought the good fight. As I conclude, and I'm certain you will know where I get this from, because I just recognize her. She always tells me that I am the junior minister, and she's the senior one because she has been a minister of religion before me. And I asked her, tell me what I can say to our graduates this evening. And she said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all good will be added unto you. Congratulations. May Almighty God bless you all. Best wishes.